morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. Good.
Nice. Okay, so you know that today or this period is going to be devoted for social studies. So last
Yes.
time up at page 124. So please open your books at page 125. The last part of it or half the lesson. So it is about different forms of government. So we are going to go through forms of government and their structures in the world, in different parts of the world. Then we are going to move on to talk about political parties and elections.
Page 125, teacher.
125.
Okay. Different forms of government, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Khalifa, can you please start reading?
Okay. The table summarizes the most common forms of government found in the world today. Form of government: monarchy, including sultanate and emirat. Structure of government:
Emirates.
emirate.
Yep.
The monarch, king, queen, sultan, sheikh, or emperor is the head of state. Once a monarch comes to the throne, they normally rule for the rest of their life. Succession is usually by inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
You do not vote for a king or queen. In Saudi Arabia, the king and his crown prince are choosing according to the
To the
mechanisms specified
specified
in the constitution and system of governance. Most modern monarchies have a constitution.
monarchies. It is not a ch, it is k.
Monarchies have a constitution which states the rights, duties, and responsibilities the monarch has. Example: Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, King Salman bin Abdulaziz, Sultan of Oman, King Qaboos bin Sayyid Al Sayyid, United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Khalifa bin Ziyad
bin Zayed Al Nahyan.
Al Nahyan, Japan Emperor Akihito.
Akihito. Okay, thank you so much. So before we move on to the parliamentary monarchy, we want that we discuss the important points here in the monarchy that includes sultanates and emirates, like the Sultanate of Oman or the Emirate of the United Arab Emirates. So here, the head of the state normally is I mean, what's the form of the head of a state, or what is it exactly? What's its title? So, is it a president? Is it a king? Who is it exactly?
What was the question, teacher, again?
The head of the state normally in a monarchy.
Yes.
What is its title? Do we call him a president?
King.
King. Very good. So yeah, we have the example of Saudi Arabia as an example. So in this vein, so here there are 4 important points that you should focus upon in this paragraph. First, that the monarch is the head of the state, and that succession is usually by inheritance. So by inheritance, it means that the eldest son is going to be the next king. Okay. And most modern monarchies have a constitution which states the rights, duties, and responsibility the monarch has, because it is not a dictatorship. So the king or the monarch does not have absolute power. So he has different rights and duties that are stated in the constitution of the country. Here I took only one example. It is Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, King Salman bin Abdulaziz. Okay. The second point, please, or the second form of government. Another volunteer to read.
Me, Rakan Hidan.
Rakan Al-Hidan. Yes, please.
I read from the book.
Yep.
Some states have a monarch as the
monarchy or
head of state only. In a parliamentary monarchy, the monarch does not make or implement policy. Day-to-day government of the country is carried out by an elected cabinet of ministers headed by a prime minister, premier, or chancellor who are selected from a larger group of elected
Parliamentarians.
parliamentarians. Example: the United Kingdom, the Kingdom of Netherlands.
Excellent. So here, in the parliamentary monarchy, does the monarch or the king or the queen has any real political power? My question is not for only Rakan Hidan, it is for the whole, all the students.
What was the question?
In a parliamentary monarchy, does the king or the queen has any political power?
Teacher.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
125.
Yes, they have.
Yes, they have.
No, they don't, because here the monarch does not make or implement policy. So it is just, so he has a position here. So the monarch, he does not implement policy, and it is as he is the ceremonial head of the state. So he is there just as as a position, like the Queen of the United Kingdom of Great Britain. She does not interfere in anything in the policy of the country. Who is responsible instead of for that?
The governor.
Yeah, who is that governor? Normally, who is it?
I don't know.
The prime minister. Say. So today, day-to-day government of the country is carried out by an elected cabinet of ministers headed by a prime minister. So the prime minister is, let's say, not more important, but he has the right or the responsibility to find solutions for problems, to even declare war sometimes in certain countries. So he is the one who is responsible for the function of the government. So the king or the queen is just a ceremonial title. So he does not interfere in the policy, or he does not interfere in anything in the policy. The third point, or the third form of government, is the democratic republic. So, and it's clear from its name, it has something to do with democracy. So here, the people elect a president or elect someone to represent them in the government, and this is done democratically. So the points of view of the people are taken into consideration. Someone to read the third point, please. Democratic republic.
Me, teacher.
Who is it?
Muhammad Jawad.
Oh, yep.
Democratic republics, a system of government in which the ultimate power remains with the citizens of the state, the voter. In practice, the people elect politicians and give them a mandate to represent them. Voting takes place regularly, so people can replace those they have delegated if they wish. Most countries in the world today have some form of democratic government.
Nice. Okay, so here the people, or we call them the voters, because they are the ones who elect that particular person or that particular party in the country. So they give their confidence, or they put their confidence upon someone. They choose him through election, through voting, for a certain period of time. And if he fails to fulfill their dreams or to fulfill their needs, so they can overthrow him. Of course, through overthrowing, we don't mean by force, but by another election or by another mechanism that is stated in the constitution of that country. Is it clear?
Yes.
Nice. Next, please. Parliamentary democracy
Teacher, me.
Yes, please, you, but speak up. Hello?
Teacher.
Yes, please.
اقرا.
Who is it? Abdul Majid?
No, he says Hanaki.
Anaki, can you read,
No,
please, but
not
speak
me.
up. Get closer to your mic.
Okay. In this type of government, the parliament chooses the government head of government and ministers. From the elected party members, the party with the most votes is usually the one that leads the government, although they may include members of other parties in a
Coalition.
coalitions. Examples: South Africa, Egypt, Spain, and Italy.
Egypt, Spain, and Italy. So here, for example, the Republic Party, the Conservative Party, and other parties. So the ones who have more seats in the parliament, I mean, after the election, there is a party that gets the more seats than the others. So that party is the one that chooses the government, that chooses the ministers. For example, the minister of health, the minister of interior, the minister of foreign affairs, etc. So this is chosen by the political party that has the more seats in the parliament. But sometimes it happens that that particular party who won the election and who got more seats in the parliament, sometimes he finds a way to join with another party to make itself stronger. But at the same time, he gives certain positions for the other political party, or certain political positions, like, for example, they give him, for example, the Ministry of Education, or any kind of political position. Just to be in a coalition, it means to be in an alliance with another party. Is it clear?
Teacher, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Teacher, how about in the case of the United States? They don't have an election every time somebody screws up. They have election every 4 years.
Yeah, this is a mandate. They call it a mandate. So the president has at most 3 mandates. After that, he cannot be a president any longer. So he needs to get out. Then he needs to wait for another election, or he needs to wait for another turn, so that he can present himself as a candidate that he wants to be elected as a president another time. So this is the federal system of democracy. We are going to go through that in the next part, in the next point. Badr, can you read the federal system of democracy?
Teacher.
Yes, please. Read this. What do you want?
I'm Tarek, not Credis. I was saying another thing for the president, they can stay longer only if there is another thing, only if there is war. For another 4 years, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so these are exceptions that are stated according to the constitution of that particular country.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do I read?
Badr al-Aqil, yeah? Federal system of democracy.
Federal system of democracy. The power to rule is divided normally between a central government and the authorities of regions which make up the country as a whole. Example, USA.
You are reading from the screen, and I want you to read from the book.
I don't have my book.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, anyone else who has a book, please, because there are certain points that you should go through.
Page what, teacher?
126. No, 126 now.
Okay.
Me, teacher.
What is Khayal?
Teacher, Abdul Majid Clinton.
Abdul Majid, yeah?
I like the part. parliamentary or
The
federal?
federal system of democracy.
In a federal system, the power to rule is divided normally in terms of constitution between a central government and the authorities of the region, which make up the country as a whole. These parts may be called states, provinces, or colonies. The regional authorities are able to govern the region with some independence, and they are able to restrict the power of central government through a system of check and balances. Examples: USA, Canada, India, Germany, and Australia.
Excellent. So here it is the example, or the prominent example, is the United States of America. So here we have provinces. These provinces, they have some kind of regional authority, but they need also to refer back to the central government, which is the main government. But at the same time, they refer back to it, and at the same time, they restrict its authorities. They control it, they check upon it. If there is some kind of abuse from the central government, so the other provincial governments or the ones that belong to the states, they can stop it, not stop it permanently, but they can question, or they can question the decisions made by the central government. So this type or this system is called the federal system, because we have a central government and we have like other branches that belong to provinces, which are called provincial governments, that refer back in their decision to the central government. Next, please.
Teacher, I will read.
Yes, please. Mohammed.
Fahad.
What is Naif Nwisr? Naif Nwisr.
I am Fahad.
Fahad. Who wants to read now? What's your name?
Me. Fahad.
Fahad.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Socialist and communists.
Before that, because you skipped a form of government, which is totalitarian regimes and dictatorships.
I will read the socialist after who read.
At page 126, totalitarian regimes and dictatorships.
Okay. Totalitarian regimes and dictatorships. A dictatorship is a government in which one person or a small group has absolute power, usually
unrestricted
by a constitution or other system of law. In a totalitarian state, the rule usually tries to control and the attitudes, values, and the beliefs of the people. Example: North Korea, totalitarian military state with a dictator as
dictator
as head and of
the state.
Cuba, dictatorship.
A dictatorship. So here, what did you understand from this form of government? So what is it different, or how is it different from the other ones that we come across?
Wait, teacher, I will read it again. In mind.
Yes, please.
Wait. I don't know.
How is this form of government different from the other ones that we come across?
I don't know.
There is no difference between them. So we were talking about democratic republics and federal systems, etc. And this kind, it says that here the government, in the government, there is one person or one group that has absolute power. They don't refer back to any constitution. So they take their decisions according to their wants. So here we have the example of the North Korean president. So no one denies or ignores this fact. So even when you go to social media, you find that they talk a lot about him. So
Teacher, which one in which one in the East Asia?
North Korea.
No.
The president of North Korea, or also the president of Cuba. So it was Fidel Castro, but he died, and after him came his brother. So their system of government is a totalitarian regime, so where no one else gives his point of view. So they even control the values and beliefs of people. So if they want you to stop going, for example, to the church, they stop you. Yes, please. What's your question?
Teacher, page what?
126. You are so late, Malik. Now it is 11:16 minutes, so 14 minutes left from this period. So here we said that in a totalitarian regime, so the governors or the people who are responsible, or that particular person, if it is not a group of people, so they try to control everything in the country. So they control the attitudes, values, beliefs of the people. The last one, the last form of government, Faisal Kridis, Malik al-Maliki.
Yes, I read for socialists.
Socialists and communists.
From your book. On communist countries, the state controls the economy by removing private ownership of land and other resources. The aim is for everyone to have the same share of the economy, but often these countries are ruled by one group, which may exploit the poorer working classes. Examples: China, communist; Vietnam, socialist republic.
So here it is something totally different. So in these kinds of forms of government, so the country or the state is the one who is responsible for everything, especially economically. So it is a form that is opposed to capitalism. So you don't have the right to own lands, to own, for example, factories, to own hospitals, private hospitals. You don't have the right to own a clinic. So everything is controlled by the government. Why? So they think that this is the sake for the sake of poor people, so that they guarantee that everyone in the country has the same share or an equal share of the economy in the country. But at the same time, this may lead to difficult or different problems, as you know that can you please stop playing music? The one who is watching cartoons or watching football match.
Cartoons, it's for Russia.
Yeah. So I said
Soviet Union.
The problem is that in these countries, there is always a particular group of people who are controlling everything, and they are exploiting the situation. They are exploiting the working class, the poor working class. So they give them low wages, low salaries. The conditions of work are not good, etc. So now, after you have known about, or you have had an idea about the different forms of government. Last time in Classera, I uploaded certain tasks and I saw that no one did them about the different forms of government. So please log in or try to solve the questions that are related to the different or to understanding governments in your Classera as soon as you finish today's course.
Teacher.
Yes, please.
I did the quiz, the one yesterday. The first question, it skipped. I don't know why.
Okay, so it was not only you who told me about this problem, and I will check with the administration.
And teacher, the last question, I answered it false and it changed it to true. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. I will check that with the administration. I will tell them to find a solution for it. I will talk to the maintenance also as soon as they finish the course today.
Okay.
And I will see whether they are going to be able to assign the quiz again for you or not.
Okay.
Teacher Munir, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Now, why we should leave this period? Why don't we just stay and continue to the other subject we have?
Because it's recorded.
Yep, because I need to record every class separately, and because we have two subjects also, so it cannot carry on without stopping. So I need to stop everything, to stop recording, to download the whole period, then we start another one. Okay.
Teacher.
But now we are not done. Still, we have 9 minutes.
Teacher.
Yes, please.
Now, Wednesday we have social quiz, right?
Yeah, sure.
And it's lesson 2 and 1, right? Or
yeah,
only
sure.
1? And we
1 and
only
2.
finished- Okay, we only finished the first lesson.
How come?
No, the second. Okay, I thought.
Now we are in lesson 2.
Okay.
So the questions will be until where we stop today. Okay.
But
Teacher,
teacher,
when we did lesson 1.
Lesson 1.
Yeah.
A long time ago, I cannot remember, but we dealt with it.
teacher,
Mm-hmm.
when will we highlight?
You don't need to highlight because all what you see now on my screen is going to be in Classera, and these are the parts, the most important parts, because I summarized. I wrote only what is necessary for you.
Okay, thank you.
I omitted all what is not needed. Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Teacher, where I find it in Classera? Course material.
Go to your Classera, write that same title that you see here, and you will find it. Write, for example, Understanding Governments, or any title that you need to look for. Okay. So, move on to page 128. I need a volunteer to read, and I need from the others to focus and to tell me about the difference between a democracy and a dictatorship. What's the difference between them? A volunteer to read, please. Who is it?
Muhammad Shaw.
Muhammad Shaw, yep.
The differences between democracy and dictatorship. All forms of government can be described as democratic or dictatorial, depending on how the government is structured and how it functions. Democracy means rule by the people. In a democratic system, the people as a whole have influence and say in the leadership of the country. This normally means that people elect government officials to represent them for a set period of time. In a dictatorship, one person or a small group control all the elements of government without consulting the people they are governing. Dictatorships are often started by military leaders that control the country using force.
Excellent. Another reading for the same part.
Me, teacher.
Naif and Wesser, why don't you participate today?
I am here, but I don't like to bother you.
No, you're not bothering me. It's because you're not in a party now.
No, but
because you're studying.
That's why I put mute for myself, so I don't get sound, and you get bothered.
Okay. Anyhow, thank you because you are taking into consideration all these things. But I want you to read page 128 from the beginning, the differences between democracy and dictatorship, that same part that Mohammed has been reading.
Okay, should I start now?
Yeah, if you want. If you don't, you can wait until next year.
Okay.
Okay.
The differences between democracy and dictatorship. All forms of government can be described as democratic or dictatorial, depending on how the government is structured and how it functions. Democracy means rule by the people. In a democratic system,
yes, please.
People as a whole have influence and say in the leadership of the country. This normally means that people elect government officials to represent them for a set of period of time.
Yes, please carry on.
What?
Yes, carry on.
Okay. In a dictatorship, one person or a small group control all elements of government without consulting the people they are governing. Dictatorships are often started by military leaders that control the country using force.
Thank you so much. So here, the dictatorship or the democracy first. So who is ruling, in fact, in a democratic system of government? Who is ruling the country?
People.
People, excellent. The real rulers of the country are people. Why? Because their viewpoints, their wants, their needs are taken into consideration by the governors, and also that the governors are chosen by the people. So they didn't come to govern the country by themselves, but they were chosen by the majority of the people. However, in a dictatorship, things are different. So it is a small group of people or just one person who manipulates all the people that are under without taking their into consideration their needs or without meeting their needs, without giving attention or importance to what they want or to their viewpoints, how the government or how the state should be. I want you to provide me with two definitions, one for a democracy and one for a dictatorship, as stated in the book. If I ask you to define democracy, what can you say? Hello?
Yes, teacher.
The other ones have slept.
No, teacher.
Then provide me with the definition. So you're not doing any effort. Everything is written.
What is the definition of what?
Definition of a democracy. What's
a
the
system
meaning
of government by the whole population
rule by
or all eligible
Excellent.
members of a state, typically through elected representatives.
Excellent. So it is ruling by people. It is that same thing that you have been reading. So here, I want Hanaki. Are you there?
Yes.
Yes, Hanaki. Can you read, please? What can you can see on the screen?
Okay. The differences between democracy and dictatorship.
Dictatorship.
Democracy means rule by the people in a democratic system. The people as a whole have
Yes, please. The people as a whole have influence and say in the leadership of the country. People elect government officials to represent them for a set period of time. Because we need to go fast, we need to finish because 1 minute is left or the period is over. So I'm going to read the last part. In a dictatorship, one person or a small group control all elements of government without consulting the people they are governing. Dictatorships are often started by military leaders that control the country using force. Not authority, they are not legitimate, but they use force to terrify people, to scare them, to make them submit to their orders. Okay, so we're going to stop here.
Can I read?
The questions, no, now the period of social is over. So we should start with the, we should start with the literature.
Okay. Can I read in English? Thank you for your teaching.
Wait a minute until I'm back, okay? For your quiz will be upon the things that we have covered. Until that page, which talk about democracy and dictatorship, it will be until 128. Okay.
طيب أستاذ يعني ما في highlight صح؟
Okay.
Everything that you see here are the highlighted parts. Normally, if you have your book with you. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You will send it will be so easy. They will be true, false. They will be maybe matching. They will be maybe defining. So it will be very easy.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Welcome.